My ex-wife demanded more child support, saying, "Your money isn't enough." So I asked for a DNA test, and this surprise was something no one expected. I paid child support for 11 years, never late, never complained, just watched half my paycheck vanish every month while my ex posted vacation photos and weekend getaways on Instagram. Then last March, her lawyer demanded a 40% increase. Not for Timmy's braces or college fund, for her lifestyle. I live in a studio apartment, drive a 15-year-old Civic, eat meal prep all week. She just bought a boat. When I asked for a simple expense breakdown, she called me 11 times in 1 hour, screaming, saying I was weaponizing money and traumatizing our son. I hung up and texted, "Just show me where the money goes." Her response, "How dare you question me? I'm his mother." That's when I knew. People with nothing to hide don't fight transparency that hard. We met at Starbucks. I brought 11 years of payment records in a thick binder. She brought her phone and an attitude. I slid the binder across the table. "I just need to understand why 40% more." She didn't even look at it, just stared at me with cold, dead eyes. "You've always been like this, always needing control." My hands shook from exhaustion, tired of being her villain. After everything during the marriage, after all the lies, "I need a DNA test." She went still, then laughed, sharp and broken. "You're seriously going to punish Timmy? I just want to know." She stood so fast her chair screeched, called me a monster loud enough for everyone to hear, then walked out. 4 days later, her lawyer agreed if I kept paying and covered costs. At the clinic, I watched Timmy swab the inside of his cheek while Karen stood in the corner with her arms crossed, glaring at me like I was destroying his entire life. He didn't understand what was happening, just knew Dad was being weird. When the nurse handed me my own swab, I felt like the worst person alive. 2 weeks later, Saturday night, I was sitting in my car outside a grocery store when the notification came. I opened it with shaking hands. 0% probability of paternity. I stared until the words stopped making sense. Kept rereading them like maybe I'd missed something. Sat there over an hour, because moving meant accepting 11 years of my life had been built on a lie. I felt stupid, like the biggest fool who ever lived, like everyone knew except me. Every birthday party, every school pickup, every exhausted weekend being a dad, none of it real. Karen didn't reach out. That told me everything she'd known. Spent 11 years betting I'd never ask. Her lawyer still emailed about the increase, like nothing changed. I hired Jennifer. She laid out options: terminate support, sue for repayment, fight for custody, walk away. I signed that day. Karen launched her campaign, posted everywhere about me abandoning a child I raised, using DNA as an excuse, traumatizing Timmy. No mention of her affairs or lies. Just painted herself as struggling single mom, me as monster. My phone exploded, people calling me disgusting, my own mother asking what I was thinking. Jennifer said don't fight back, so I watched my reputation burn. Karen named the biological father Greg, guy who worked with her when Timmy was conceived. I found him on Facebook, married, 2 kids, sales manager. 2 days later, Greg's lawyer filed for his own test, me getting out, Greg finding out if he was in. Worst part was Timmy. Karen told him some twisted version of the story. At my next visit, he looked at me different, like a stranger who'd betrayed him, barely talked, just played on his tablet, wouldn't meet my eyes. I tried explaining I still cared, that none of this was his fault. He shrugged without looking up. "Mom said you don't want to be my dad anymore." I couldn't tell an 11-year-old his mom lied about everything. A month later, bank notification. $11,000 charged in 4 days on an old joint account. Karen had used it for months. Small charges I missed. Now she panicked and went big. I filed a police report. IP traced to her apartment, referred for prosecution. Jennifer. Now it's not just paternity fraud, it's financial fraud, forgery, and theft. Final hearing, mid-December. Karen showed up with public defender. Nothing like the confident woman from 7 months earlier. Judge Hayes reviewed everything. When Karen's defender claimed desperation, the judge cut him off. Desperation doesn't justify fraud. Ruling. Karen repays $72,000. Probation. Lost custody. Timmy placed with Karen's parents. Custody determined between Karen and Greg. I felt nothing, just exhaustion. Jennifer said repayment would take years. Karen would declare bankruptcy. I'd probably never see most of it, but at least the truth was on record. I didn't destroy my son's life. I stopped letting a lie fund itself.